Nebraska and Matt Rhule are a punchline again. And this time, look, in a vacuum, Matt Rhule probably didn't deserve it. It was kind of an offhanded joke comment here that he's being raked over the coals for all day today, has been on social media. But Matt Rhule, I would say, is learning about what reputation does for you. And it's not just his reputation. It's part of it, but it's also his school's reputation. The reputation of the program, Nebraska football these days, combined with what Rhule has done and said lately, has produced everybody getting after him for this comment. Okay. And look, because of that, like, I do think it's kind of deserved. You're not going to get sympathy out of me. I'm sure that shocks you guys, but you're not going to get sympathy out of me for Nebraska today based on all of this. So it's a quote that is out there from Huskers Online, which, like, they do. Sean Callahan does an incredible job. One of the best team fan sites out there. But they had an interview with Matt Rhule that got circulated. It got aggregated today is what happened. So it was pushed everywhere. He was talking about the college football playoff, and he said, quote, "The more spots, the better, man. Make that thing 40 and let's go." So he was saying, make the college expand to 40, forget 14, which was being talked about for a minute there. Let's go to 40. Okay. Nobody wants a 40 team playoff. This is, it's like the NCAA tournament expansionists are getting a hold of this now. Why not just push this thing to 40? We could have a 128 team NCAA basketball tournament, and let's make the college football playoff 40. Now, many have pointed out, Nebraska media included, that Rhule was laughing when he said it. It was kind of a joke. Well, I don't think Matt Rhule really wants 40 teams in the playoff. And if it were just that, like it was one little quip, I would say, hey, generally this is probably unfair. And again, when I say if in a vacuum, it would be pretty unfair, that's because in a vacuum, it just means if this were a one-off, there's no context before or after, there's no previous comments made by him or anything like that. Unfortunately, we don't live in a vacuum. We live in a comprehensive world where all these things are happening. Okay. So here, first of all, is what Rhule went on to say later on in the interview. He said, quote, "I think, again, you're talking about a league that we play 9 conference games where some others play 8. So I think that puts you at an automatic disadvantage. You look at 2 years ago, we were 5-7. You think about the years with Scott Frost where he was 5-7. Now you add in one more group of 5 team, you take out one more Big Ten, and now you're actually 6-6. This year you're 6-6. Now you're 7-5. You're just adding another win in. So the more spots, the better. We're playing in a really, really tough league. We're playing really, really good teams. And you know what? If you play in this league, you deserve a chance to get to the postseason and see what you can do." Guys, I'm sorry. That's soft. That's soft. I don't know much about wrestling. I remember seeing one time, isn't there a guy that says SAWFT or something like that? Soft. It's pretty soft, dude. That's pretty soft. Just get your program better. First of all, Nebraska football, this is what you're reduced to right now. Your coach is like, hey, all those years recently that we've been 5-7 because we've been 5-7 a bunch of years recently. First of all, it's he's basically singling out this has been a 5-7 program. Well, what if we were a 6-6 program because we played Georgia Southern, which obviously Nebraska fans know that's no easy task. But if we played, so we'll use somebody else. If we played Ball State, okay, instead of whoever it was that we had rolling in here from a P5 conference, we could have been a 6-6 program instead of a 5-7 program. How about that? I mean, okay, if that's the bar for the mighty Huskers these days, I suppose it is. Sad state of affairs that you're even talking about that. But it's this combination, Matt Rhule has this weird balance of being deathly afraid of playing a major non-conference game. And then at the same time, this superiority complex of, hey, we play in the Big Ten. We deserve all this extra love and credit and respect. And you should put us in every important game because of the league that we play in. But we are terrified of playing anybody good in our non-conference schedule. It's a pretty weak juxtaposition here, man. Really, really weak. And now let's contextualize it with some other things that he has said recently, because one of the guys that really took him to task today was Ari Wasserman from On3. And he wrote this article where he points out hey, this is Matt Rhule just said this on Urban Meyer's podcast. He said, quote, why would you ever play one of those games? Coach Meyer, I'm at a point in my life, in my fourth job after getting fired in the NFL. I say what I feel nowadays. I could care less. Why in the world would a Big Ten team who's already playing 9 conference games, why would you ever play one of those games? He's like doubling and tripling down on this, man. And I know he's not the only one to say this. Many are saying this. It's the whole attitude and vibe right now, Big Ten and SEC, like, again, to schedule big non-conference games. They want guaranteed playoff spots. Yes, like, is it technically by the letter of the well, I guess you could even argue, and Ari Wasserman kind of did. You can even argue about how good or bad that actually is for you. Like, you're kind of taking the Bill Snyder way out here. All right. I'm a K-State fan. Bill Snyder, his first coaching tenure, the whole reputation about him was that he scheduled way too easy. He rolled through 3 rummies in the non-conference schedule every single year. That was a part of his strategy. He wanted extra reps for second and third teamers, which he thought was advantageous. And yeah, he didn't want to risk losing a game because, like, K-State was not treated like a lot of other big programs at that point in time with extra losses. Like, it was, the worry was like, if we're going to win a national championship, like, we got to go undefeated. We can't risk losing. And he got crushed for it. And now we're sitting here like, it's okay for big, bad, mighty Nebraska to take this attitude of, man, this is what we got to do. We got to play the weakest non-conference schedule possible. And then what's the other thing that Matt Rhule said recently that I talked about on this channel? He basically said, well, we are in the Big Ten. We are much, much greater than Iowa State. You know, Iowa State comes in and they offer guys willy-nilly in state because, well, they play in the lowly podunk Big 12, even though, you know, they've been objectively a much better program than us for the last 10 years. Much better program than us. He didn't say that part. But that was again, the juxtaposition here of like, well, whoa. We are terrified of playing a big non-conference game. And at the same time, well, we play in the Big Ten. So give us nice special treatment and throw us in whatever tournament this is just because we got this Big Ten patch. Iowa State plays Iowa every year in the non-con, okay? They go out and play a Big Ten team every year in their non-con. That's Iowa State. They're not afraid to do that. Nebraska is afraid to do anything like that, any team of that caliber. That's what Matt Rhule is projecting here. So this talking out both sides of your mouth stuff, like, how about shut up and be better than 6-6, Matt Rhule? How about lift this program from being a 5-7 program to something better so you can actually make this playoff, which keeps expanding anyway. I mean, they're trying to invite you in, but you just won't finish better than 6-6 in the Big Ten with, by the way, I have to roll my eyes hard at Nebraska complaining about, oh, these schedules could get too tough. You have like 2 tough games a year on the Big Ten schedule, and the rest is mediocre to bad teams, especially Nebraska that played in the Big Ten West for so long. It's honestly, if I didn't find it so damn entertaining that this is where Nebraska's at, I would find it very sad that this is where one of the once mighty programs in college football has fallen to, that they're now complaining about this being 6-6 and saying, well, we could have been 7-5 if we didn't have to play those meany, hard non-conference games. Okay? Come on, dude. It is, you know, in the heyday of the SEC, we've always made fun of all the schools that would just ride the coattails of the SEC, like the accomplishments of Bama and Georgia, right? I mean, seen a lot of memes about that where it's Bama and Georgia doing all the winning and the rest of the schools like chanting SEC behind them. This is completely drafting off of Ohio State and Michigan and Oregon. I guess a little bit Penn State, but like Ohio State, Michigan, Oregon, this is Nebraska just trying to pull up behind them, draft off of them and say, yeah, look at us. We're awesome. When they're not the ones out there hauling ass out in front that's creating the draft for them. It's sad. It is sad. It is sad that is where Nebraska is. And it is infuriating that this is the type of program that gets held in higher regard than so many from the Big 12 by a lot of people anyway, just because of the tradition there. But this is a program that does not act like a program that is above, like an Iowa State, for instance, because Rhule drew basically a direct comparison between those 2 programs here recently. Like, Iowa State conducts itself like a much more powerful program these days than Nebraska does. And these comments do not help. So yes, the one that hit the social media graphics, he did laugh about, but there was a lot more to it that was basically backing up what he said, even if it was in a joking tone And he's made very clear on other podcasts and interviews recently how he feels about this, and it is weak. It is SAWFT, soft. Soft from Matt Rhule and Nebraska. I suggest that the Huskers get a little tougher if they want to actually become a program that can make the college football playoff. Just a little advice from your friend John. That's all I'm saying. Nebraska fans, media, whoever. It's a little friendly advice from me. What do I know? I'm a Big 12 guy. What do I know?